The body of a young girl in puberty suddenly underwent a mutation. After swallowing a fish, her toes slowly stuck together, and her thighs turned greenish-black with growing scales. 15-year-old Mia and her parents moved to the suburbs where her father lived. Mia is in the midst of a rebellious adolescence, and the move distances her from her old friends, making her feel very lonely. At her new school, a group of unruly students who smoked and drank caught Mia's attention. She approached them and asked to borrow a lighter, but they laughed at her. Arriving home, Mia locked herself in her room and didn't say a word. Her mother asked her if she had any new friends at school. This question hurt Mia. Mia got angry and yelled at her mother to come out of her room and pushed her to the ground. In the evening, when her father came home, he found out what had happened during the day and criticized Mia severely. Mia felt guilty and didn't know why she had done that. She could only remain silent in the face of her father's questions. Late at night, Mia couldn't sleep and felt very thirsty, so she went to the kitchen and drank a big bottle of milk to feel better. Then she went to her mother's room and leaned against her body. The mother woke up and then hugged her. The next day, as Mia walked to school, a stray cat followed her. Mia found it strange that lately the stray cat had been following her around, sometimes sniffing at her feet, as if she were carrying a piece of salted fish. After a quiet day at school, Gianna, one of the naughty students, approached Mia and asked if she would like to join her group, saying that there would be lots of fun to be had in the group. Mia immediately agrees without thinking. Then some naughty girls came to Gianna's house. Gianna's family was very rich. Gianna's room was full of designer bags and high heels. Mia sees these beautiful and rich girls and envies them, wishing she could be flamboyant like them. During the chat, Gianna was surprised to learn that in that place, except for Mia herself who didn't have a boyfriend, the other girls were always changing boyfriends. Afterward, they played a game together. One of them strangles the other so that the strangled one feels the sensation of suffocation. When Mia was strangled, she felt like she was falling into the deep blue sea, and she slowly felt suffocated. When she came to, she was very frightened, and immediately fled home. Arriving home, Mia saw a goldfish in a glass aquarium and suddenly felt the desire to eat it. She picked up a live goldfish and put it in her mouth and tried to eat it, but she immediately got up and went to the bathroom to vomit and then rinsed her mouth. At night, Mia thought about what she had experienced during the day and felt so excited that she began to secretly learn makeup and dance. The next day, Mia skipped school with Gianna and the girls and went shopping. These naughty girls have a tendency to steal because they think that spending money to buy something is unpleasant. Stealing is fun. One day, Mia and Gianna stole accessories from a shopping center. When the security guard found them, they ran away. The two girls ran outside, laughing and opening bottles of wine to celebrate. Mia grew fond of these naughty girls because they gave her the most pleasure she had ever felt. When she got home, Mia realized that she was having her first period. She was scared because her mom wasn't home. She rummaged around for tampons and looked for her mom's. To ease her anxiety, she soaked in the bathtub. But then she realized something even scarier. Her toes were fused together. No longer in the mood for a bath, Mia closed her bedroom door and continued to stare at her toes. When her mother came home, she knocked on Mia's bedroom door and asked where the goldfish had gone. Mia panicked and said that she had flushed the goldfish down the toilet. When the mother heard this, she slapped Mia wordlessly and said that Mia had done something crazy. She should close the door immediately. Mia hid behind the door and cried silently. She didn't know what was wrong with her. Her body had undergone many strange changes lately. The school is planning a study trip for next week, but it must be signed by the parents. Her father thinks that Mia has been in a very bad state recently. Not only has her homework declined, but also mysteriously threw a goldfish into the toilet, refused to sign the letter, and told Mia to reflect on herself at home. After school, Mia went to the hospital alone for a checkup. The female doctor looked at Mia's toes and found an extraordinary thing, because usually deformed toes are congenital from birth, rather than growing suddenly. In addition, there was a thin layer between Mia's toes. The doctor said that she needed to do a detailed examination before considering whether to operate or not. However, while waiting for the examination, Mia ran out of the hospital in fear. While running, she suddenly fell down and sat up crying. During that time, her body changed in a strange way, and her parents did not understand it. Mia suddenly wondered if she wasn't born by her parents. When she arrived home, she looked through her old photos, but there was not a single photo of her pregnant mother. To vent her frustration, Mia looked for a man online and tried a one-night stand, but in the end, she slapped the man in the face and ran away from the hotel. Afterward, Mia bought gauze and disinfectant from the pharmacy. She cut the membrane between her toes with scissors and saw the blood flowing down, but it didn't stop. Even worse, her thighs were bruised. She had to cover it up with makeup. After that, Mia often hung out at parties, had sex and used drugs to get herself drunk. One day, Gianna drank herself into unconsciousness. Mia took Gianna to her house. Gianna later found out that Mia's father wouldn't sign the papers for the study trip, so Gianna forged Mia's father's signature. The next day, Mia set off without telling her parents. During the trip, Mia was shocked to find her legs turning blue. She was so scared that she fainted and had a nightmare. In the dream, she fell into the deep blue sea and couldn't get out. When she woke up, she immediately vomited. At night, when Mia returned home, her parents questioned her about why she had secretly gone on a school trip. Mia was silent in the face of her parents' questions. Her parents were so disappointed with their child that they discussed whether they should write a letter to a psychiatrist. However, Mia simply said that she was tired and went back to her room. At night, Mia felt hot and couldn't sleep. She took off her clothes and lay on the cold floor before falling asleep. However, in the morning, she saw a lot of dried scales on the floor and was immediately shocked. Mia knew that the scales had fallen from her thighs. Afraid that her parents would see her, she quickly hid the scales under her bed and went to school. In biology class, her teacher dissected a fish, and many students thought it was just another lesson. But Mia continued to stare at the fish. After class, the teacher and her classmates walked out of the lab. Mia, who saw the bloody fish, could hardly contain her desire, and picked up the fish and put it in her mouth, putting it in her mouth with all her might. At that moment, a quiet girl passed by the laboratory, and Mia walked up to her and threatened her if she dared to tell anyone. The quiet girl was very frightened and quickly ran away. Mia thought that her physical abnormalities were hereditary, and she believed that she was now adopted by her parents. One day she found what she thought were adoption documents in her mother's room, and when her mother came in, she immediately took them and kicked them out. A few days later, her parents had to leave home for a few days to attend a wedding. After they left, Mia felt physically and mentally relaxed. She saw the new goldfish in the glass aquarium, and without caring, she picked them all up, one by one, and put them in her mouth. In the evening, Mia went to a party at the lake. At the party, she drank her wine and looked at the moon in the sky, thinking that tonight she would finally have fun without having to go home. Then, in the distance, a voice called for help. It was Gianna. Gianna drank too much again and drowned in the lake. Mia rushed over to Gianna, jumped into the lake, swam like a mermaid towards Gianna, and saved the unconscious Gianna. But once on land, she felt her body change again and immediately ran home. Mia lifted her clothes and found that gills had grown on her waist. She also discovered that her legs had also turned greenish-black, and there were scales growing there. She forced herself to calm down and pulled out the scales with tweezers, although the wound was bleeding, numb, and feeling nothing. Gianna, who had come to look for Mia, saw this and immediately felt nauseous and vomited. Mia suddenly became hysterical, grabbed a bottle of wine and threw it at Gianna, while screaming for Gianna to get out of there. After that, a devastated Mia returned to the party, made up again, drank and got drunk with the guys, and indulged herself. Gianna rushes over and pulls Mia up, urging her to calm down and go to the doctor. But her words reveal that Mia's thighs have changed in a strange way. The man next to her takes off Mia's pants out of curiosity, but when he sees the huge scales growing on Mia's thighs, everyone at the scene feels extremely disgusted and vomits. Almost desperate, Mia ran out of the party. When she got home, Mia's legs were completely fused together, and without thinking, she grabbed the knife on the table and slashed her arm. But the next day she discovered that she wasn't dead, and her legs had turned into blue fishtails. Crying bitterly, she crawled into the bathtub of her house and let the water flow out of the tub. As the water continued to flow out, The entire house turned into a small swimming pool. Mia lay in the water and felt more relaxed than she had ever felt before. Suddenly she realized that she couldn't live on land, but the sea. She called Gianna and asked her to help her. When Gianna sees Mia transform into a mermaid, she suppresses her fear and finds a car to take Mia to the sea. On the beach, Mia called her mother and said that she would always love them. Then she hung up the phone. Then Mia said goodbye to Gianna and slowly swam into the sea. She sees the world for the last time and swims away without looking back. The movie ends.